So we have 6 kids, and I do feel that when I move into society with my children, if my husband is not with me, we are looked at as a circus act. I think that there was a time when our culture esteemed children and esteemed the family. Present day, our culture esteems success and money and title. My heart has grown so weary of proving myself. My heart has grown so weary of trying to fit in and trying to be accepted that there was this thirst within my soul of how does the gospel liberate this within me? What is it about Jesus that sets this free? For the past, I would say 4 years, I've just have been on this journey of being broken free from feeling like I have to prove myself or measure up to anyone else's standards. I have come to find the truth, number one, that I am a sinner who Christ yet loves. My heart has been completely reshaped by the sense of acceptance because Christ knows all my sin and still died. There is this profound security because that's not a love that's based upon anything that I've done. That's a love that is built on Christ and what he has done. My money doesn't save me. Having a lot of kids, not having a lot of kids, none of that saves me. Having a great marriage, not having a great marriage, that doesn't redeem me. Having a great outfit, being in shape, being in control, none of those things redeem me. So when I walk out into society, I'm not measuring anyone else up by those standards either. Christ died for them. They have worth, they have value. That's why I do prison ministry.
Though I don't see you, I believe and love you more every day. You prove to be real.
I get why Jesus spent so much time with the people that society looks down upon. I get why he surrounded himself with people who are condemned by society, because there's something that you feel in their presence that you don't feel with people who have it all together. There's this sense of humility. There's this honesty that they have about what they've done, and they're not trying to hold it back. They know it, and they know you know it, and they're not trying to hide that. Here I am, in all my mess, in all my struggle. This is it. And I think the difference, though, in spiritual communities is that I know it, I just don't want you to know it. I think that the church is guilty of having a lack of grace with its people. So many of us are still living from a works-based state of mind. We are Christians, we understand what Christ did, but we are still justifying ourselves by our works and by what we have and by how people perceive us. But that's not the gospel. And that's why it's important that the gospel penetrates our hearts. The gospel doesn't start with your strengths. The gospel starts with your weaknesses. You are not perfect. You are not meeting God's righteous standard of perfection. You are a sinner. And that's why it's so important that we understand the gospel and that we create communities that understand the gospel so that when I fail in these areas, my brother and my sister can speak the gospel back into me and remind me of its strength and its power. I need it. You need it. Every Christian community needs it. There's so much liberty in it. There's this view of if you know too much about God's grace, you're not going to honor God's grace. If we talk about God's grace, you're just going to go live any old way you want. And I believe that when we have a right view of God's grace, that compels our loyalty to God. It's the church's responsibility to meet people with grace because that is how Christ met us. So I think first, there's this internal work that has to happen within my soul when it comes to the topic of grace and having a bright, comprehensive view of that between me and God. And then I'm able to extend that to other people. And that's why I feel like we need to be talking about God's grace as much as possible. And we need to be living that and expressing that and extending that because it's healing. It's healing to mess up and to be met with grace. that is healing. And that is what Christ has done for you and for me. And that is transformative. We cannot encounter that type of grace and remain the same.